Look at the world today. Panic is everywhere. People fear inflation wiping out their savings. They fear taxes rising. They fear technology, artificial intelligence, and being replaced. In response, they scramble to find safe havens, gold, speculative real estate, volatile cryptocurrencies, building walls of physical assets to protect themselves, but they are missing the most fundamental truth: every physical asset can be taken from you. Real estate can be taxed. Currency can be inflated to worthlessness. A business built over decades can be disrupted by new technology in months. The stock market can lose 50% in a single week. There is only one investment that is truly immune to inflation, to taxation, to market crashes: your own earning power. Your mind is the ultimate asset. When I was in my early 20s, I was terrified of public speaking. Standing in front of a group made me physically ill. My intelligence, my engine, was trapped inside my head. I realized that if I didn't fix this, my career would be limited. So I enrolled in a Dale Carnegie public speaking course. It cost $100, a lot at the time, but the return was astronomical. I didn't learn complex financial models. I learned how to organize my thoughts and communicate clearly. That investment returned millions of percent over my lifetime. Without communication, even the greatest brain is useless. You can discover a cure for a disease, but if you cannot articulate it, your value is near zero. Learning to write and speak clearly instantly multiplies your lifetime earning potential. It's the ultimate leverage, connecting your mental horsepower to the wheels. But don't stop there. Turn your mind into a compounding machine. Knowledge grows like compound interest. Reading one book today adds to what you learned 10 years ago, creating new frameworks and connections. It's invisible to the outside world, slow and boring, but over decades, it becomes an unstoppable intellectual force. Consistency, not intensity, is the secret. Reading 20 pages a day seems small, but over 10 years, it becomes hundreds of books, an empire of knowledge. Assignment for Rule 5. Stop obsessing over Fed announcements or refreshing your portfolio every 10 minutes. You cannot control macroeconomics. Redirect that energy into the only asset that guarantees a return: yourself. Invest in communication, read books on psychology, history, or business. When the next crisis hits, your portfolio may temporarily shrink, but your internal value remains untouchable. No one can tax your intellect. You will emerge stronger than ever. Conclusion: the rocking chair test, the true scorecard. We've covered the 20-slot punch card, market psychology, margin of safety, the gravity of human association, and your ultimate asset, your mind. Follow these 5 rules, and the mathematics of compounding almost guarantees wealth. But I must give you a final warning. I've lived over 90 years, made more money than one could spend in 1,000 lifetimes, and met the most powerful people on earth. Yet I've seen a dark truth: men with fleets of jets, skyscrapers with their names, the ability to call the president. At the end of their lives, they are bankrupt in the only currency that matters. Their children wait for the will, their spouses are there for inheritance, partners see them as stepping stones. They have all the money, but no love, no genuine human connection. That, to me, is absolute failure. I call it the rocking chair test. Imagine being 95, sitting on your porch, reflecting on your life. You won't think about portfolios, quarterly earnings, or promotions. You will think about people. Did you treat them well? Did you act with integrity? Did you build trust or burn bridges for $1? Money is a tool. It brings freedom and options, but it cannot buy love. You cannot write a check for genuine affection. So as you build wealth, remember the ultimate scorecard. Don't trade reputation for a quick profit. Don't sacrifice family for a promotion. Build your wealth, yes, but wealth is a byproduct of a life well lived. Install these 5 rules in your operating system. Stop drifting, grab the steering wheel, and play the game hard. Whenever people ask me for my top investment advice, I always give the same answer: I have only 2 rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. Most people laugh at this. They think it's just an old man's clever joke, that it's impossible to never lose money. But I'm not joking. This is a strict mathematical law of the universe. The biggest mistake highly intelligent people make is focusing entirely on the upside. They calculate how much they could earn, dream about yachts and mansions, but they never calculate the downside. They never ask, what happens if I'm wrong? Let me explain the brutal mathematics. If you have $100,000 and lose 50%, you now have $50,000. To get back to where you started, you don't need a 50% gain, you need a 100% gain. Lose 90%, and you need 900% just to break even. This is the negative compounding effect of losing capital. Once you fall into a deep hole, climbing out becomes almost impossible. That's why Charlie Munger and I focus on avoiding stupidity rather than chasing brilliance. In the late 1990s, a hedge fund run by some of the smartest people on the planet, mathematical geniuses, multiple Nobel laureates, blew up. They had borrowed massive amounts of money, leverage, hoping to accelerate returns. When an unexpected event hit the global markets, their models failed, they lost billions. And nearly took down the financial system. They risked what they had and needed, for what they didn't have and didn't need. Absolute madness. It's like Russian roulette. If you put a million-chamber gun to my head with only one bullet and offer me $1 million to pull the trigger, I would refuse. The upside is not worth the infinite downside. A zero at the end of any multiplication makes the entire result zero. You must protect yourself from zeros. To do this, you must build what Benjamin Graham called a margin of safety. An engineer doesn't build a bridge to hold exactly a 10,000-pound truck, he builds it for 30,000 pounds. That extra strength protects against unexpected stress, bad weather, aging materials, heavy traffic. Build your financial and personal life the same way. If you need $5,000 a month to survive, don't make a life that requires exactly $5,000. Leave room for human error, bad luck, and chaos. Cut leverage, build reserves, and accept lower returns in exchange for survival. The ultimate winner isn't the fastest driver, it's the one who never crashes. Your assignment for Rule 3, stress test your life. Examine debt, investments, monthly expenses. Are you driving a 10,000-pound truck over a 10,000-pound bridge? If so, fix it immediately. Build your margin of safety. Protect your life and your wealth. Rule 4, the gravity of human association, choosing your heroes. We live in a culture that worships individual willpower, the myth of the lone wolf. Motivational speakers tell you to grind harder, read more books, and push yourself to overcome toxic environments. But willpower is a biological illusion. It's like a phone battery, you wake up fully charged, but by 3 p.m., after traffic, decisions, and stress, it's dead. Your environment, however, is not a battery, it's a gravitational field. The people you spend time with pull on you constantly. You cannot outsmart this force. If you surround yourself with complainers, drinkers, and excuse-makers, you will inevitably become the sixth. Your language, habits, and standards will conform to theirs. The human brain seeks social harmony, it adapts to the people around it. The reverse is also true. Surround yourself with self-made millionaires, lifelong learners, disciplined and morally upright people, and their high standards will become yours. When people ask me the secret of Berkshire Hathaway's success, they expect a formula, a market trick, or a timing strategy. The real secret? My partner, Charlie Munger. The most important financial decision you will ever make has nothing to do with the stock market, real estate, or venture capital. It's who you choose to marry and who you choose to partner with in business. I chose Charlie because I wanted someone who would force me to elevate my game. Not a yes man or employee. I wanted brilliance, knowledge, and courage, the kind that could look me in the eye and tell me when my ideas were stupid. Partnering with someone of lower character would have left my wealth a fraction of what it is today. Highly intelligent people often let ego choose friends. The ego loves to feel superior, to be the smartest in the room. But if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. True growth requires surrounding yourself with people who intimidate you with their intellect and discipline. When you are around giants, your brain adapts. You stretch just to survive in that elevated environment. Your assignment for Rule 4, audit your social circle. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they lifting you up or dragging you down? Are they discussing big ideas or gossiping? If they pull you down, create distance. It will be uncomfortable. They may call you arrogant or say you've changed, but say yes, you have changed, and that was the point. Fire the negative influences and aggressively recruit heroes who will pull you toward greatness. Let's begin with a biological reality. As human beings, we are wired to fail at building wealth. Our brains didn't evolve in a modern financial system. they evolved in the Stone Age. For tens of thousands of years, survival depended on the herd. If your tribe suddenly ran screaming through the jungle, you didn't stop to analyze probabilities or check data sheets. You ran, or you were eaten. Fear and social conformity kept our ancestors alive, but in today's financial world, the herd is almost always wrong. Following the crowd in markets guarantees mediocrity at best and ruin at worst. When I was young, my mentor Benjamin Graham gave me a lesson that completely rewired my thinking. He asked me to imagine owning a small fraction of a business with a partner we'll call Mr. Market. Every day, Mr. Market shows up and quotes a price. He will either buy your share or sell you his. Sounds simple, but there's a catch. Mr. Market has a severe psychological disorder. He is manic-depressive. Some days, Mr. Market is euphoric. Everything looks like endless sunshine and opportunity, and he names absurdly high prices for your shares, terrified that you might take advantage of him. Other days, he's depressed, seeing only disaster, political chaos, economic collapse, and he begs you to buy his shares for pennies on the dollar. Here is the test of rationality. Mr. Market is not there to guide you. He is there to serve you. His mood swings are your opportunity, not your instruction. Most people fail because they let Mr. Market dictate their emotions. When prices soar, they feel envy, rushing in at the peak of the frenzy. When prices crash, they panic, selling at the exact bottom, locking in permanent losses. I have one simple rule: be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Everyone knows the quote, but few understand the psychological agony of living it. To act against the crowd, to buy when fear is everywhere, is physically painful. Your stomach knots, friends plead with you to sell, and your primitive brain screams at you to run with the herd. Executing this requires becoming a cold, calculating machine. It demands absolute emotional detachment. You must build a fortress around your mind, seeing plunging stock prices not as threats, but as mispriced opportunities. Detach your ego, your pride, and your adrenaline from the flashing numbers on the screen. This is why Charlie and I stayed in Omaha, far from Wall Street. We wanted distance from the manic-depressive shouting, to sit quietly, analyze the intrinsic value of businesses, and stay disconnected from crowd emotions. If you cannot control your emotions, you cannot control your money. Here's your assignment for Rule 2. The next time the world panics and markets drop, turn off the television, log out of social media, and ignore the news. Study the balance sheet, analyze the cash flow, calculate intrinsic value. If the value is there and the price is absurdly low, step up and act. If not, do nothing. Never let a manic-depressive partner dictate your financial destiny. Master your primitive brain, or it will master you. People come from all over the world to visit me in Omaha, expecting to uncover some hidden secret to wealth. They imagine banks of supercomputers, walls of screens flashing complex algorithms, rooms full of mathematical geniuses. Instead, they find an old man at a simple wooden desk, quietly reading a book. Most leave disappointed. They wanted a complicated formula, but the truth about winning at life is far simpler and far harder than they imagined. Let's talk about intelligence. Think about the people you know who are incredibly smart, perfect exam scores, Ivy League degrees, the kind of person who can solve complex equations in their head. Yet look closely at their lives today, drowning in credit card debt. On their third marriage, chronically stressed, spending 40 hours a week taking orders from a boss who barely finished high school. How does this happen? How does a certified genius become a slave to a paycheck and live in quiet desperation? It happens because society sold them a lie. From childhood, we are told that IQ is a golden ticket, that the smartest person in the room always wins. I've been in this game for over 70 years. I've watched brilliant people lose everything. Investing isn't about having a 160 IQ versus 130 IQ. In fact, if you have a 160 IQ, do yourself a favor and sell 30 points. You don't need them. In the game of wealth, those extra points can actually hurt you. Think of your brain like a car. Your raw IQ is the horsepower, a roaring Ferrari engine under the hood, beautiful, powerful, impressive. But horsepower without a steering wheel is useless. Rationality, emotional discipline, and a solid operating system are your steering wheel. Put a 1,000 horsepower engine in a car with a broken steering wheel and no brakes, and you're going to crash, fast and hard. Highly intelligent people often lack this steering wheel. Worse, they use their brains to rationalize terrible decisions. Simple rules offend their ego. They think, I'm a genius, this can't be that simple. There must be hidden complexity. So they create complex models to justify buying into financial bubbles. Overthink their careers until paralyzed, or argue pointlessly, burning relationships to prove they were right. Their intelligence becomes their weapon of self-destruction. Charlie Munger and I didn't build Berkshire Hathaway because we had the biggest engines. We built it because we had the best steering wheels. We didn't try to be brilliant, we tried to be a little less stupid every day. Even with an average engine, a simple, reliable four-cylinder car can lap a Ferrari that crashed on the first mile if the steering wheel is aligned and eyes are on the road. I'm not here to teach you cash flow statements or give stock tips. Those are temporary tools, they change with markets and technology. But human nature, the hardware of fear, greed, and envy, doesn't change. Over my 90 years, I've developed a specific operating system, 5 foundational rules, the iron laws that allowed me to survive and compound wealth while so-called geniuses went bankrupt overnight. These rules are simple to understand but brutally hard to execute. They require fighting your ego, looking foolish to others, and unlearning nearly everything society taught you about getting ahead. If you're ready to stop drifting and take control of your life, let's begin with rule number 1. Rule 1. The 20-slot punch card, the art of subtraction. Rule number 1 is what I call the 20-slot punch card, or the art of absolute subtraction. We live in a world that glorifies busyness. People wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, thinking motion equals progress. But motion is not progress. A rocking chair has motion but goes nowhere, it just burns energy. Most people believe that to get more out of life, they must do more. They suffer from the disease of addition, saying yes to almost every opportunity. The difference between successful people and truly successful people is simple. The latter say no to almost everything. When I speak to college students, I give them a thought experiment. Imagine being handed a lifetime punch card with only 20 slots. Every major decision, financial investment, career choice, punches a hole. Once all 20 are used, the card is confiscated, and no more major decisions are allowed. How would you behave if you only had 20 opportunities for your entire life? You wouldn't swing at every pitch. You wouldn't gamble your savings on a risky idea or buy speculative stocks on a whim. You'd wait. You'd study, learn, observe, and act only when the perfect, life-changing opportunity appears. Charlie Munger and I built Berkshire Hathaway this way. We didn't make 10,000 brilliant decisions over 50 years. Most of our wealth came from 10 or 12 truly great ones. The rest of the time, we said no, sitting quietly, reading, refusing 99% of the options in front of us. Here's a crucial truth about human psychology. Your biggest enemies are not bad ideas, they're good ideas. The projects that are moderately profitable, mildly interesting, or somewhat entertaining drain your focus and energy. Every time you say yes to a good idea, you quietly kill a great one. Energy is limited. Spread it thin across 20 projects, and nothing moves significantly. Focus it on 2, and they soar. Like a magnifying glass focusing sunlight to start a fire, your attention must be laser sharp. Your assignment for Rule 1, ruthlessly prune your priorities. Write down the top 25 things you want to achieve. Circle the top 5, these are your destiny. The remaining 20. They are not secondary, they are your enemies. Avoid them at all costs until your top 5 are complete. Master the art of subtraction. Guard your punch card with your life, and focus like a laser.